Good day once again, everybody, and I want to use this opportunity to welcome you to Mathematics Solution Center. Today we are going to be looking at Surds summary. We are going to be saying everything concerning what? Surds. Number one, let's start with what is surd. Before you be able to define a surd, you must know what is rational number and what? Irrational numbers. Rational numbers are the numbers that can be expressed in a fraction. 2 is the same thing as 2 over 1. Therefore, 2 is a rational number. If I have 1 over 2, is a rational number. So any number that can be expressed as a fraction is a rational number. But we have some numbers that you cannot even express them as a fraction. So these numbers that cannot be expressed as a fractions are what? Irrational number. Examples are what? Maybe your pi is an irrational number. Square root of prime numbers are what? Irrational numbers. Square root of 7, square root of 2, all these numbers are irrational numbers because you cannot express them as a fraction, as a number divided by another number. Now, we used to take the value of pi to be 22 over 7. This is an approximate what value of pi because the real value of pi is not this. It cannot be expressed as what? As a fraction. Take note of that. What is now surd? Surds are square root of rational numbers that we give an irrational number as an answer. The square root of rational number that will give us what? Irrational number as an answer is what? Surds. Take for instance, if I have square root of 2, square root of 3, square root of 5, all these are what? Surds, because they are square root of rational number, but the answer they will produce are what? Irrational what? Answers. So that is the definition of surds. Now let's go to rules of surds. And the rules of surds are, some of them are written alongside as a part of the laws of indices. If I have a root A times root B, is the same thing as what? Root A times B under the same square root. And if I have root A divided by what? B, is the same thing as root A over root B. These are the two basic rules of surd. But take note, square root of A plus square root of B is not equal to square root of A plus B. And square root of A minus square root of B is not equal to what? Square root of A minus B. Now take note of that. The two simple basic rules of surds are this and this. Basic forms. If I have square root of 162, in which way can I still express this and it will still mean this in square root of 162? Take for instance, my 162 is the same thing as what? Square root of 81 times 2. Therefore, I have square root of 81 times square root of 2. This is the same thing as square root of 81 is 9 times square root of 2. Therefore, my answer is the same thing as 9 root 2. This is the basic form of what? Square root of 160. So if you should use your calculator on this, press the square root of 160 and press square root of 2 times 9, you are still going to have the same answer. So this means that what we have at the left-hand side can be expressed as what we have as right-hand side, and they are equal. Take note of that. That is the basic form. Because sometimes when you are working with surd, you can express your work in the basic form for you to be able to simplify further. So take for instance, if I have a square root of 54, so I have square root of 9 times what? Square root of 6. Square root of 9 is the same thing as what? 3. So my answer is 3 root 6. So root 54 is the same thing as what? 3 root 6. And we can convert, or we can work backward. We can change the basic form back to maybe normal form. Let me call it normal form. Take for instance, I have 2 root 3. 2 root 3, converting it backward, just know that what? This 2 is coming from what? Inside the square root. To take it back inside the square root, see what you are going to do. You just say square root of what? 2 square. Then times what? 3. Because square root of 2 square is what? Is 2. Therefore, I'm going to have square root of 4 times what? 3. My answer is now equal to what? Square root of 12. So changing it back to the ordinary form. Now let's talk about similar surds. Okay, if I have similar surds, take for instance 2 root 2, 3 root 2, 4 root 2. All these surds are similar. They are similar. It's just like you have 2x. Let's take our root 2 to be what? X. It's just like we have what? 2x, 3x, and then 4x. Are they not similar? These are similar. Evaluate root 20 plus root 45 plus root 125 minus 2 root 80. I will convert each of them to their what? Basic form. This root 20 is the same thing as 4 times 5. So that is going to be what? 2 root 5. Then plus my 45 is the same thing as 9 times 5. Root 9 is what? 3 root 5. Then plus my 125 is the same thing as what? 25 times what? 5, which is what? 5 root 5. Then minus my 80 is the same thing as 16 times what? 5. Root 16 times root 5. Root 16 is the same thing as 4, but you use that 4 to multiply what we have outside already. Therefore, I'm going to have what? 8 root what? 5. Therefore, you can see that they are similar surds. If you get confused on how to summarize this or to work further on this, you can just take your root 5 to be x. So it's like I have 2x plus 3x plus 5x minus 8x. I believe you are used to that method. You can work with that. 2x plus 3x plus 5x is going to be what? 10x minus what? 8x. 10x minus 8x, that is what? 2x. But our x is root 5. Therefore, our answer is what? 2 root 5. We've gotten the final answer. Conjugate of surds. The conjugate of surds simply means if I have a plus b, root b. The conjugate of this will be what? A minus root b. Conjugate is gotten by changing just the sign. Plus we change to minus to get the conjugate, and minus we change to plus to get conjugate. If I have square root of b minus square root of c, my conjugate is going to be what? Square root of b plus what? Square root of c. That is the conjugate. Okay, let's take for instance multiplication of what is solved by its conjugate. 3 minus root 2 multiply by its conjugate. To multiply this by its conjugate, I'm going to have 3 minus root 2. Then its conjugate is 3 plus what? Root 2. Now let's multiply this. This is the same thing as in its simplest form. This is the same thing as 3 into bracket 3 plus root 2. Then minus root 2 into bracket 3 plus root 2. Just your normal expansion. Then let's use 3 to multiply. 3 times 3, 9 plus 3 root 3. 3 root 2 minus 3 root 2. Then minus root 2 times root 2 is 2. Therefore, plus root 2 minus root 2, we cancel. 9 minus 2. 9 minus 2, I'm going to have what? 7 as my answer. Now let's go to rationalization. Take for instance, if I have, let's say 2 over root 3. And I want to rationalize this. To rationalize means what? You should multiply by what? The denominator divided by the denominator. That is how to rationalize a surd. So let's rationalize. It's going to be what? Times root 3 over what? Over root 3. By multiplying by this over this is 1. Because anytime you multiply an expression by 1, the expression remains what? Itself. So multiplying by root 3 over root 3. Root 3 divided by root 3 is 1. So it means that I'm multiplying by 1 and I have not done anything wrong. So anytime you are doing this, feel free because you are just multiplying by 1. But it will change the what? The form in which your answer appears to another thing. Therefore, I'm going to have what? 2 root 3 over root 3 times root 3 is actually what? Root 9. Square root of 9 is 3. 2 root 3 over what? 3. That is the correct answer. So we have rationalized what? That. Let's take one more example on rationalization. Take for instance, I have 8 root 8 root 3 divided by what? Root 2. I can rationalize this by saying what? Times root 2 over what? Over root 2. Therefore, I'm going to have 8 root 6 over what? Root 4, which is equal to 8 root 6 all over 2, because square root of 4 is what? 2. This is just to tell you that whenever you multiply a root of a number by the root of the same number, the answer you are going to get is just the number. Root 2 times root 2 is 2. Therefore, 2 can go in 8. I'm going to have what? 4 root 6 as my answer. Okay, let's take a look at this question. 3 plus root 2 all over root 5 plus root 3. If this is given to you to solve, all you have to do is to what? Is to multiply, or is to rationalize by the conjugate of the denominator. Listen to that very carefully. Rationalize by the conjugate of the denominator once you have something like this. Therefore, I'm going to have 3 plus root 2 all over root 5 plus what? Root 3. Then times the conjugate of the denominator is root 5 minus root 3. Then all over root 5 minus root 3. So that's what we are going to do. So let's just multiply. I have 3 plus root 2 into bracket root 5 minus root 3 all over root 5 plus root 3 root 5 minus root 3. So let's expand the upper part. It's going to be 3 into bracket root 5 minus root 3, then plus root 2 into bracket root 5 minus root 3 all over root 5 into bracket root 5 minus root 3. Bracket closes, then plus what? Root 3 into bracket root 5 minus root 3. So the next thing is just to expand. 3 times root 5, I have 3 root 5 minus 3 root 3 plus root 10, root 5 times root 2, root 10, then minus root 2 times root 3, that is what? Root 6, all over. Let's expand the denominator. I have root 5 times root 5, the answer is 5, minus root 15. Root 5 times root 3, 3 times 5, 15. Then plus root 3 times root 5, that is root 15. Then minus root 3 times root 3, the answer is 3. Therefore, I'm going to have what? 3 root 5 minus 3 root 3 plus root 10 minus root 6 all over minus root 15 at the denominator level plus root 15 will cancel. Therefore, I'm left with what? 5 minus 3. The numerator level, can it be simplified further? No, it cannot be simplified further. So I have 1 over 2 into bracket 3 root 5 minus 3 root 3 plus root 10 minus root 6. That is my answer. Okay, the next thing we are going to be doing as far as this topic is concerned, Surds, we are going to be solving more examples and uploading it so that what? You will see how other questions are being solved. And we will also take questions from past questions. And if you have any question you feel like is somehow difficult for you to understand, you can also send it to us at johnkekule@yahoo.com. Then I will attend to it. Put a comment in the video, then I will know that you have sent a question to us through our email address. Then the question will be attended to. More questions are coming your way. All you have to do is to stay tuned. Don't forget to like the video, share it, and if you have not subscribed, please kindly click the subscription button and put on the notification so that you will be notified anytime we upload a new video. Thanks and remain blessed. Thank you.